Jai Gurudev. So, how did Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankarji first engage with the Sri Lankan conflict, and what was his initial approach to peace building? Jai Gurudev, yes. Gurudev's initial engagement was grounded in compassion and non-violence. Rather than taking a political stance, he focused on healing the collective trauma through spiritual practices like Sudarshan Kriya and meditation, which he introduced as universal tools transcending ethnic and religious divides. These practices help individuals manage stress, fear, and anger, common emotions in war zones. By promoting inner peace, first Gurudev laid the foundation for outer peace. He also initiated satsangs, community gatherings focused on sharing wisdom and fostering unity. These satsangs became safe spaces where Sinhalese and Tamil communities could come together, listen, and heal. His approach was unique because it emphasized personal transformation as the seed for societal change, avoiding political entanglement. What was the significance of Gurudev's role as a neutral mediator, and how did his spiritual tools aid in this? Gurudev's neutrality was crucial. He did not align with any political faction, enabling him to earn trust from all sides. His tools like pranayama and meditation enhanced his own clarity and equanimity, allowing him to listen deeply without bias or judgment. These practices also empowered leaders and combatants he met, calming their minds and opening their hearts to dialogue. Spiritual rituals such as pujas and homas were performed to invoke peace energies, creating an atmosphere conducive to reconciliation. His role resembled that of a Vedic mediator, using ancient practices like Sandhyavandanam and Gayatri Japa to bring divine blessings on the peace process. This spiritual dimension helped to transcend political and ethnic tensions, creating a common ground for of humanity. How did Gurudev's use of Sudarshan Kriya and meditation impact the people affected by the conflict? Sudarshan Kriya and meditation offered practical relief from the constant fear and trauma caused by war. Many people, including ex combatants, widows, and children, found these breathing techniques restored mental balance and emotional stability. The rhythmic breathing synchronized the body and mind, reducing anxiety and fostering a sense of calm and hope. This physiological change made individuals more open to forgiveness and reconciliation. The Art of Living's sadhana programs, which include Padma Sadhana and Shakti Kriya, help participants release deep seated pain and develop resilience. These tools became a non-violent weapon against hatred, enabling Sri Lankans to face each other not as enemies but as fellow human beings longing for peace. Can you explain the role of spiritual rituals such as Sandhya Vandanam, Upanayanam, and Agni Karyam in the peace process? Spiritual rituals played a vital role in reconnecting people to their cultural roots and higher consciousness. Sandhyavandanam, a Vedic practice involving prayers at dawn and dusk, helped bring rhythm and harmony into daily life, reminding participants of the cosmic order beyond human conflicts. Upanayanam, the sacred thread ceremony, symbolized initiation into knowledge and dharma, emphasizing responsibility towards peace and righteousness. Agni Karyam, or fire rituals, invoked divine energies to purify negative influences and bless the peace efforts. These Vedic rituals, when performed collectively during peace gatherings, reinforce the spiritual commitment of all involved. Gurudev's emphasis on such practices ensured that the peace process was deeply anchored in tradition and spirituality, which helped to transcend superficial political fixes. What were how were creativity and cultural programs integrated into Gurudev's peace building efforts? Gurudev believed that art and creativity could heal wounds that words could not. Music, dance, and painting workshops were organized in war torn areas, allowing individuals, especially youth, to express trauma and hope creatively. These programs built empathy across ethnic divides by showcasing shared cultural heritages and stories. Creativity workshops combined with meditation and breathing exercises created holistic healing environments. Artistic expressions became acts of peace themselves, breaking down barriers of suspicion and fear. Gurudev's message was clear: when people create together, they connect deeply beyond politics and history. These initiatives complemented traditional spiritual practices and expanded the peace movements has reached to every emotional and psychological layer of society. How did Gurudev address the role of youth in the peace process? Yes, youth were both the most affected and the most powerful agents of change. Gurudev's programs trained thousands of young Sri Lankans in pranayama, meditation, and service. transforming former soldiers and traumatized children into peace ambassadors through initiatives like Sanyam Sadhana, discipline integrating breath control, meditation, and self restraint. Youth learned self mastery, reducing violent tendencies. The Art of Living's youth forums encouraged dialogue, leadership development, and community service, creating new narratives of cooperation. Gurudev believed empowering youth with inner peace tools and spiritual wisdom was crucial to break the cycle of violence and build a lasting culture of peace. What was the impact of chanting and mantra practices like Gayatri Japa and Padma Sadhana during reconciliation efforts? Mantras like the Gayatri Mantra and practices such as Padma Sadhana fostered mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual strength. Chanting these sacred sounds collectively during peace gatherings helped unify diverse groups. Energetically, the vibrations of mantras uplifted participants' consciousness, reducing hostility and promoting forgiveness. These practices align with Vedic principle of sound healing, which asserts that specific vibrations can transform mind and matter. Gurudev often used such sacred chants in peace ceremonies, inviting participants to experience the transformative power of sound and silence. These spiritual tools nurtured patience and compassion, essential ingredients for a true reconciliation. How does the wisdom talks and books by Gurudev support the peace process? Gurudev's talks and writings distilled complex spiritual concepts into practical guidance accessible to all. Books by his Swamijis like The Tiger's Paws and public talks emphasize universal values like compassion, forgiveness, and inner peace, providing philosophical backing to the peace initiatives. These teachings created a shared intellectual and emotional framework, helping people make sense of their suffering and aspire for harmony. His wisdom integrated ancient Vedic knowledge with contemporary psychology and conflict resolution techniques. The accessibility and universality of his message helped overcome ethnic and religious barriers, inspiring individuals and communities to choose peace over retaliation. Can you describe how homas and pujas contributed to the healing of collective trauma? Homas or fire ceremonies and pujas or ritual worship invoke purifying energies that help clear negative karma and collective fear. In Sri Lanka, these rituals were performed with the intention of healing the land and its people. Fire, considered a purifier in Vedic tradition, symbolized transformation, burning hatred and resentment to make way for compassion and renewal. Group participation in these ceremonies created communal energy fields of hope and unity. Gurudev emphasized the symbolic and energetic power of these rituals, which complement the psychological healing brought by meditation and breath work. Together, they formed a holistic healing approach addressing the physical, mental, and spiritual dimensions of conflict. How did Gurudev integrate the practice of Sandhya Vandanam and other daily spiritual routines into the lives of Sri Lankans? Gurudev encouraged adopting daily Vedic spiritual routines like Sandhya Vandanam to establish a personal discipline and connection with the divine. These routines bring regular pauses for reflection, gratitude, and alignment with the cosmic rhythms essential for individuals recovering from trauma. Incorporating such practices nurtured inner stability and resilience, which naturally spread to families and communities. By reviving these ancient habits, Gurudev helped re anchor Sri Lankans to their cultural heritage, restoring pride and a sense of belonging beyond ethnic divisions. The daily spiritual rhythm became a foundation for sustained peace building, ensuring that inner peace supports outer harmony. How did the practice of Upanayanam contribute to nurturing responsibility and peace among Sri Lankans during the conflict? Upanayanam, or the sacred thread ceremony, marks the initiation into spiritual knowledge and dharma. Gurudev emphasized the rituals as symbolic meaning, entering a path of discipline, learning, and ethical living. For Sri Lankans grappling with violence, Upanayanam reminded individuals of their higher duties toward truth, compassion, and community service. It inspired participants, especially you, to embrace non-violence and responsibility in rebuilding society. By reintroducing this ritual within peace initiatives, Gurudev connected spiritual growth with social transformation. This fostered a renewed sense of identity and accountability, encouraging people to uphold peace not just externally but as a sacred commitment within themselves. What did the role of Agni Karam or fire ritual influence the emotional atmosphere during peace talks and gatherings? Agni Karyam, the Vedic fire ritual, is powerful in purifying negative energies and symbolizing transformation. During peace talks, conducting Agnikaram created an atmosphere charged with spiritual intent and sanctity. It served as a reminder to all parties that they were part of a higher purpose, transcending personal grievances for collective healing. The fire's presence anchored the proceedings in divine consciousness, helping participants release anger and fear. Gurudev's insistence on such rituals was strategic as the ritualistic element reinforced inner purification alongside dialogue. This spiritual grounding was essential in shifting hostile mentalities toward openness and reconciliation. In what ways did creativity such as art and music complement spiritual tools in the peace building process? Creativity was a bridge between the head and heart. Art and music allowed expression beyond words, enabling participants, especially trauma affected youth, to process pain and hope intuitively. Gurudev's programs integrated creative workshops with meditation and breathwork, forming a holistic healing space. Music, for instance, united different ethnic groups through shared cultural expressions, dissolving barriers of distrust. Creative activities stimulated joy, empathy, and cooperation, crucial for community rebuilding. This approach complemented the mental clarity gained through pranayama and meditation, ensuring that healing touched emotional and psychological layers. Creativity became an active tool for peace, transforming conflict into collaborative creation. How did Gurudev's teachings empower you to take on active roles in fostering peace? Gurudev's youth empowerment focused on inner transformation as the foundation for leadership. Through training in Sudarshan Kriya, meditation, and service, youth gain tools to regulate emotions, develop empathy, and channel energy positively. Programs like Sanyam Sadhana cultivated self control and focused critical qualities for peace ambassadors. These young leaders became bridges between communities, advocating reconciliation and nonviolence. Gurudev's vision was clear: peace is sustainable only if the next generation embodies it. At the core, empowered youth equipped with spiritual discipline and confidence transformed from victims or combatants into agents of healing and renewal. What role did mantra chanting, particularly Gayatri Japa, play in uniting communities? Gayatri Japa is a profound Vedic mantra practice invoking wisdom and purity. Collective chanting during peace gatherings generated powerful vibrational fields that harmonize the participants' minds and hearts. The mantra's spiritual potency fostered focus, patience, and tolerance, key to overcoming entrenched hostilities. Gurudev used Gayatri Japa to unify diverse ethnic and religious groups through shared sacred sound, reminding them of their common humanity and divine origin. This practice also nurtured inner strength, enabling individuals to face difficult reconciliation processes without succumbing to resentment or despair. How did Gurudev's books and talks create a shared philosophical foundation for peace? Gurudev's writings and speeches distilled complex spiritual ideas into relatable practical wisdom. The book The Tiger's Paws became a beacon of hope, detailing the peace journey with honesty and inspiration. These resources offered a philosophical framework rooted in universal values like forgiveness, compassion, and inner peace. By addressing both the pain and the potential for transformation, Gurudev's words helped readers and listeners reframe conflict as an opportunity for spiritual growth. This shared understanding fostered empathy across divides, creating intellectual and emotional alignment necessary for collective healing. How did the various pujas and homas support community healing on a collective level? Pujas and homas are potent collective spiritual ceremonies invoking divine grace and purification. In Sri Lanka, performing these rituals during peace gatherings symbolized a communal commitment to peace and renewal. The shared act of worship and fire offerings built collective energy fields that transcended individual suffering, generating hope and faith in transformation. Gurudev emphasized these rituals as essential for cleansing historical wounds and creating a sacred space for reconciliation. This spiritual energy strengthened participants' as resolve and created an inclusive atmosphere where enemies could see each other as fellow souls on a healing journey. Can you elaborate on the daily practice of Sandhya Vandanam and its role in personal and societal peace? Yes, Sandhya Vandanam involves daily prayers at dawn and dusk, fostering regular spiritual connection and mental discipline. Gurudev advocated this practice to stabilize individuals emotionally and mentally, especially important in trauma affected communities. By anchoring one's stay in sacred rituals, Sandhya Vandanam cultivates mindfulness, gratitude, and alignment with the cosmic order. This inner harmony naturally radiates outward, promoting peace in families and communities' regular spiritual discipline like Sandhya Vandanam rebuilds resilience, helping people withstand stress without resorting to conflict. Its revival in Sri Lanka linked personal spiritual health and social harmony. How did Gurudev's emphasis on pranayama and meditation techniques specifically help former combatants and trauma victims? Pranayama and meditation regulate the nervous system, reduce stress hormones, and promote mental clarity. For former combatants and trauma victims, these practices were life changing. They helped release deep seated fear, anger, and post traumatic stress symptoms. The calming effects of Sudarshan Kriya breathing retrain the brain toward peace and relaxation, enabling individuals to let go of violent impulses. Meditation cultivated self awareness and compassion, essential for forgiveness and reintegration into society. Gurudev's emphasis on these tools provided practical, scientifically validated methods to heal psychological wounds, transforming pain into peace. What was the impact of Padma Sadhana and Shakti Kriya Sadhana on the peace movement? Padma Sadhana and Shakti Kriya are advanced spiritual practices focusing on awakening inner energy and balance. Their integration into peace efforts elevated individual consciousness beyond personal and communal grievances. These sadhanas deepen participants' connection to universal compassion and strength, empowering them to face challenges with grace. Gurudev believed that inner transformation at this level creates an unstoppable force for societal peace. The disciplined practice of these sadhanas help leaders and participants embody peace, inspiring others and sustaining the movement's spiritual depth beyond mere political negotiation. How did the practice of Sanyam sadhana help individuals maintain emotional balance during the peace process? Sanyam sadhana cultivates self control, concentration, and inner stillness. During the tense peace negotiations, this practice helped individuals regulate their emotions and reactions, preventing escalation of conflicts. Gurudev taught that mastering oneself through Sanyam is foundational to resolving external conflicts. For people traumatized by years of violence, Sanyam provided tools to hold steady amidst turmoil, enabling clearer communication and empathy. It strengthened the resolve to choose peace even when provoked, creating a ripple effect of calmness that was crucial in the reconciliation process. Can you explain how the community satsangs contributed to rebuilding trust among divided groups? Community satsangs, gatherings centered on truth and spiritual discourse, served as a neutral spaces for shared reflection and healing. These satsangs brought together individuals from different ethnic and religious backgrounds in a non-threatening environment focused on listening and mutual respect. Gurudev's satsangs emphasized universal values, reducing prejudices and fostering dialogue rooted in compassion. Repeated communal satsangs build a relational bridges, soften hardened hearts, and reintroduce a sense of belonging and unity, which was essential for mending the fractured social fabric of Sri Lanka. Role did the practice of Padma Sadhana play in empowering women in the peace building efforts? Yes, Padma Sadhana, focusing on awakening feminine energy and spiritual strength, empowered women to become active peace builders. Gurudev recognized the vital role of women in community healing and leadership. Through this practice, women cultivated inner confidence, resilience, and nurturing strength, enabling them to mediate conflicts and support families traumatized by violence. Padma Sadhana helped women transform their suffering into compassionate action, becoming pillars of peace and reconciliation in their communities. This spiritual empowerment complemented their social role, fostering gender inclusive peace processes. How was the integration of traditional Vedic rituals like Sandhya Vandanam and Agnikaram important in cultural reconciliation? Integrating Sandhya Vandanam and Agnikaram honored Sri Lanka's rich Vedic heritage, which both Tamil and Sinhalese communities shared. This common cultural and spiritual ground helped transcend ethnic divisions. Gurudev's approach to reconciliation included reviving these rituals to remind communities of shared identity and values. Practicing these rituals collectively reinforce unity and respect for tradition, creating a sacred space where past wounds could begin to heal. This cultural reconciliation was vital as it restored dignity and pride in common heritage, laying a foundation for lasting peace. How did Gayatri Japa and other mantra sadhanas support mental clarity and collective focus? Gayatri Japa and similar mantra sadhanas sharpened mental focus and fostered clarity by calming the mind and tuning it to higher frequencies. This clarity was essential in complex peace negotiations, helping participants stay grounded and objective. Collective chanting generated powerful vibrational energy, uniting participants in a shared spiritual experience beyond ideological differences. Gurudev encouraged these practices to cultivate patience, open mindedness, and inner peace, all critical for sustainable dialogue. The mantras acted as anchors, preventing distractions and negativity, thereby strengthening the collective resolve toward reconciliation. How did meditation practices taught by Gurudev support trauma healing at both individual and community levels? Meditation facilitated deep inner healing by calming hyperactive stress responses common in trauma survivors. Gurudev's teachings helped individuals access a state of inner peace and clarity, breaking cycles of fear and aggression. Community mediation sessions and meditation sessions created collective calmness, promoting empathy and reducing group tensions. Regular meditation rebuilt emotional resilience, enabling people to forgive, accept, and move forward. This healing extended beyond individuals, restoring the social fabric by cultivating compassionate relationships and fostering a collective mindset oriented toward peace and cooperation. What is the significance of the Sudarshan Kriya in addressing both physical and psychological impacts of conflict? Sudarshan Kriya is a powerful rhythmic breathing technique that balances the autonomic nervous system, reduces stress hormones, and promotes well being. For those affected by conflict, it alleviated symptoms of anxiety, PTSD, and depression, restoring physical vitality and mental clarity. Gurudev introduced Sudarshan Kriya as a scientific, accessible tool with immediate benefits, making it widely accepted across ethnic divides. Its practice empowered individuals to overcome traumas as physical and psychological burdens, fostering emotional stability essential for reconciliation and social rebuilding. How did Gurudev's wisdom talks complement practical tools like meditation and pranayama in the peace process? Gurudev's wisdom talks provided a philosophical and ethical framework underpinning practical spiritual tools. His teachings on forgiveness, compassion, and unity inspired participants to apply meditation and pranayama beyond stress relief, aligning them with a higher vision of peace. These talks address the root causes of conflict, ignorance, fear, and separation, encouraging inner transformation as a path to external harmony. By combining intellectual understanding with experiential practices, Gurudev created a holistic approach that empowered individuals and communities to sustain peace. Can you describe the role of sadhana practices like Shakti Kriya in building spiritual strength during reconciliation? Yes, Shakti Kriya awakens inner energy and spiritual power, fostering courage and resilience needed for the difficult process of reconciliation. These sadhanas help participants overcome fear and victimhood by connecting to a deeper source of strength within. Gurudev emphasized that true peace requires not only forgiveness but also empowerment to rebuild lives with dignity. Shakti Kriya cultivated this empowerment, helping people face their challenges without being overwhelmed. This inner fortitude translated into collective confidence in the peace movement's vision and sustainability. How did the collective practice of Sandhya Vandanam influence the daily lives of participants in the peace initiatives? The collective Sandhya Vandanam created a disciplined rhythm of spiritual engagement, grounding participants in routine and mindfulness. This daily practice instilled a sense of order and sacredness, fostering calmness and patience in their interactions. It helped maintain emotional equilibrium amidst external chaos, supporting participants in handling difficult conversations and conflicts with their composure. The collective aspect enhanced solidarity as everyone shared the commitment to spiritual discipline, strengthening community bonds and reinforcing a collective identity centered on peace. How did Upanayam ceremonies influence the younger generation's connection to peace and cultural identity? Upanayam ceremonies symbolize a spiritual initiation and responsibility, deeply connecting youth to their cultural roots and values. Gurudev supported reviving this tradition among communities affected by conflict to instill a sense of belonging and duty toward peace from an early age. By participating in Upanayanam, younger generations felt empowered to carry forward principles of harmony and respect for diversity. This early spiritual grounding fostered maturity, self discipline, and a commitment to community well being, planting seeds for long term societal reconciliation and stability. What role did creative arts play in supporting Gurudev's peace efforts in Sri Lanka? Yes, creative arts, music, dance, drama, and visual arts were instrumental in transcending language and ethnic barriers, communicating universal human emotions and aspirations. Gurudev encouraged using creativity as a peaceful expression of identity and healing. Art events brought diverse communities together to share stories, celebrate culture, and process collective trauma. This artistic dialogue promoted empathy, broke down stereotypes, and energized peace initiatives with hope and joy. Creativity thus became a powerful tool for emotional release and social cohesion, complementing spiritual and diplomatic efforts. How did the Art of Livingstone's approach to voluntary service support the reconciliation process? Voluntary service or seva cultivated humility, empathy, and interdependence among participants. Gurudev's philosophy emphasized service as a path to self transcendence and social harmony. Through Seva projects, individuals work together across ethnic divides, breaking down prejudices and building trust through shared goals. This practical cooperation nurtured a sense of community and collective responsibility. Service initiatives also addressed material needs, reducing hardships that could fuel conflict. Volunteering thus became both a spiritual practice and a social bridge in the peace process. What was the role of pujas and homas significant in fostering collective healing? Pujas and homas are sacred fire rituals that purify negative energies and invoke divine blessings. Gurudev incorporated these Vedic rituals into the peace efforts to create spiritual sanctity and collective purification. Performing these rituals together fostered a sense of shared spiritual purpose, especially with the sankalpa, and reinforced hope for transformation beyond human efforts. They provided moments of profound spiritual connection and emotional catharsis, helping communities release deep seated anger and grief. The ritualistic dimension anchored reconciliation in tradition, making it holistic and heartfelt. In what way did the Art of Living's teachings address the root causes of the Sri Lankan conflict? Gurudev's teachings highlighted ignorance, fear, and separation as the core causes of conflict. Through mindfulness, meditation, and wisdom talks, individuals learn to recognize these internal states within themselves, breaking cycles of blame and hostility. By fostering awareness and empathy, the teachings promoted inner transformation as a prerequisite for external peace. Addressing root causes shifted focus from merely political solutions to holistic healing of relationships and mindsets. This deep approach was critical for sustainable peace, going beyond superficial settlements. How did the book The Tiger Paws document and support the peace efforts? The Tiger's Paws offers an intimate first-hand account of Gurudev's peace mission during Sri Lanka's civil war's most critical phase. It documents behind-the-scenes negotiations, emotional struggles, and spiritual practices that shape the peace dialogue. The book preserves the narrative of hope and despair and highlights the role of faith, patience, and courage, serving as both historical record and inspiration. It educates readers about the complexities of peace building and the power of spiritual leadership. It helps sustain the legacy of reconciliation and motivates future efforts. How did Swami Virupaksha contribute to Gurudev's mission in Sri Lanka? Swami Virupaksha was a key facilitator of Gurudev's peace efforts, dedicating over 9 years to advancing the mission. He bridged the communication between Gurudev and local leaders, helping navigate cultural and political sensitivities. His expertise in conflict resolution and deep commitment ensured the smooth execution of spiritual and humanitarian initiatives. As an advanced meditation teacher and humanitarian, Swami Virupaksha trained volunteers and fostered community engagement. His multifaceted role was crucial in transforming Gurudev's vision into sustained grassroots action. How did the Art of Living's global network enhance the peace mission in Sri Lanka? The Art of Living's global network provided resources, volunteers, and international visibility, especially on social media, to the peace efforts. Gurudev's worldwide following offered moral support and practical assistance, amplifying local initiatives. This network facilitated cross cultural exchanges, spreading successful reconciliation models, and creating a global community committed to peace. The international dimension added credibility and pressure for a solution, while fostering solidarity among people of different nations and backgrounds. The global network also ensured the mission's sustainability through ongoing training and awareness. How did the focus on inner peace by Gurudev influence external peace negotiations? Gurudev taught that true external peace arises from inner peace by guiding leaders and citizens toward inner stillness through meditation and spiritual practice. He transformed adversarial mindsets. This shift reduced aggression and mistrust, enabling more constructive dialogue. Leaders who practice inner peace approach negotiations with the patience, clarity, and compassion rather than fear or ego. This internal transformation was critical in overcoming deadlocks and fostering genuine reconciliation. Inner peace thus became the foundation upon which external peace agreements were built. What lasting impact has Gurudev's peace mission had on Sri Lanka's society? Gurudev's peace mission planted seeds of spiritual healing and social cohesion that continue to influence Sri Lanka's journey toward reconciliation. His teachings and practices empowered individuals and communities to move beyond trauma, building a culture of forgiveness and unity. The integration of ancient wisdom with the modern peace building created a unique and holistic model inspiring ongoing dialogue and healing. Gurudev's vision of peace rooted in spirituality remains a guiding light for future generations, fostering hope for a truly harmonious Sri Lanka. How did Sudarshan Kriya specifically help individuals affected by the Sri Lankan conflict? Sudarshan Kriya, rhythmic breathing technique, helped individuals manage trauma and stress from the conflict by calming the nervous system and balancing emotions. Practicing this breathing enabled participants to release fear, anger, and anxiety, promoting mental clarity and emotional stability. This inner balance fostered resilience and a positive mindset necessary for reconciliation. Gurudev emphasized Sudarshan Kriya as a practical tool that anyone could use to heal personal wounds, thereby contributing to collective peace and social harmony. What role did meditation play in transforming the mindset of both victims and perpetrators? Meditation fostered self awareness, compassion, and detachment from negative emotions among all involved in the conflict. For victims, it provided inner refuge and strength to forgive and heal. For perpetrators, meditation offered a path to confront guilt, cultivate empathy, and embrace change. By promoting mindfulness, it broke cycles of hatred and retaliation, enabling a shift from reactive behavior to conscious choice. Meditation thus acted as a bridge between conflicting parties by nurturing shared humanity and mutual respect. What was and how was the practice of pranayama integrated into daily routines during the peace mission? Pranayama, the controlled regulation of breath, was taught as a daily practice to stabilize the mind and emotions amid the stress of conflict. Workshops and group sessions help people develop discipline and focus, reducing impulsiveness and aggression. Regular pranayama practice enhance physical vitality and mental clarity, empowering individuals to engage peacefully in dialogue and community activities. It became a practical foundation for inner peace and supported outer harmony. What significance did satsangs hold in the reconciliation process? Satsangs or spiritual gatherings involving chanting, teachings, and sharing and Q&A sessions created safe spaces for people from different communities to come together in harmony. These gatherings fostered collective healing through shared positive vibrations and wisdom. Satsangs reinforce values of tolerance, forgiveness, and unity, creating a sense of belonging beyond ethnic or political divisions. The communal experience strengthened social bonds and nurtured a collective commitment to peace. How did the wisdom shared in Gurudev's talks address the complexity of the Sri Lankan conflict? Gurudev's talks highlighted universal truths about human nature, suffering, and compassion that transcended political narratives. By focusing on inner transformation, forgiveness, and understanding, he addressed the psychological and emotional roots of the conflict. His wisdom provided frameworks for seeing beyond differences and embracing shared humanity, guiding individuals and leaders toward constructive solutions. These teachings inspired hope and courage to face difficult realities and work toward reconciliation. What is the role of Sandhya Vandanam in the peace building efforts led by Gurudev? Sandhya Vandanam, a daily Vedic ritual performed at dawn and dusk, symbolizes spiritual discipline and connection to cosmic rhythms. Its practice brought stability and mindfulness to individuals, fostering inner harmony essential for peace. By reviving this ritual, Gurudev encouraged participants to cultivate reverence, self discipline, and mental clarity. The rituals' emphasis on balance and purity supported the healing of collective consciousness, reinforcing the spiritual foundation of reconciliation efforts. How did Gayatri Japa and Sadhana contribute to the mission of peace and healing? Gayatri Japa, the repetitive chanting of the Gayatri Mantra, served as a powerful meditative and purifying practice that uplifted mental and emotional states. Sadhana, disciplined spiritual practice, deepened individuals' commitment to inner growth and peace. These practices increased mental focus, compassion, and resilience among participants. Gurudev encouraged these ancient spiritual tools as accessible means to transform personal suffering into strength and to inspire collective healing, reinforcing a culture of peace. What is the significance of Padma Sadhana and Shakti Kriya in the context of conflict resolution? Padma Sadhana and Shakti Kriya are advanced meditative and energy practices that harmonize body, mind, and spirit. These practices help leaders and peace workers develop heightened awareness, emotional balance, and spiritual strength. By cultivating inner power and calmness, practitioners could approach conflict resolution with wisdom, patience, and courage. These sadhanas deepen the effectiveness of peace efforts by enabling sustained inner peace even under external pressures. How did Agni Karam ritual integrate into the peace building process? Agni Karam, a sacred fire ritual invoking purification and divine blessings, was used to cleanse negative energies surrounding communities affected by conflict. The ritual symbolized a collective offering of pain and suffering to the divine, fostering catharsis and hope. Performing Agni Karam helped reunite people in a shared spiritual experience, reinforcing the intention for transformation and peace. This ritual dimension added depth to the priest's mission, linking external reconciliation with the inner purification. How were books and talks by Gurudev used to educate and inspire the people of Sri Lanka? Gurudev's books and talks served as accessible sources of inspiration, guidance, and practical wisdom for people across Sri Lanka. They were translated and distributed widely, providing spiritual perspectives on peace, forgiveness, and coexistence. These resources educated diverse audiences, empowering individuals with tools to overcome fear and hatred. The talks also encouraged leadership to adopt a compassionate governance. Overall, the literary and spoken works reinforce the peace missions as spiritual foundation and reach their hearts and minds beyond immediate conflict zones. Jai Gurudev.